Maybe you didn't get a lead or leads from a conference, but maybe you connected with someone that's a partner, and that partnership has created a bunch of new leads for you and a bunch of new connections. So the line to new clients is not always super linear. Sometimes it's great partnerships that result in new and greater opportunities.
Welcome to the Media Books Podcast, the only place on the internet where creative accounting isn't a bad thing. Owning a virtual firm today means having a professional and modern online presence, and in this podcast, we talk about how to do just that. My name is Kristen Corey, and I am the owner of Media Books, a media agency that provides creativity exclusively to accounting firms. And if you're an accounting firm owner, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of the Media Books Podcast. My name is Kristen Corey, and this is a review of Scaling New Heights 2025. I realize the lighting is pretty terrible in this video. I realize I also don't have my normal mic set up. That is because I am recording this literally after I just took down my booth and shipped it off. I am still in my hotel room. We're technically still at Scaling New Heights. And so I wanted to give you the most fresh take of what it was like at the conference. And so I thought I would back up a little bit and tell you first what I guess the conference was like leading up to the actual week. So I signed up for the conference as a sponsor. We had a booth. I did this back in December, and since then, Woodward has been dripping out different like tips and things. But really, these last few weeks, this last month, there has been so much content and tips and advice on how to do well at the conference. There was a webinar on like specifically how vendors should show up, what they should prepare. There were webinars for the attendees on how they should prepare. Lots of checklists, people writing articles, so much preparation. And now that it's here, it feels very strange. But having said all that, at least for us, everything ran very smoothly. We had a few little hiccups with like swag and like t-shirts getting here on time, but everything actually worked out really well. And yeah, so that was kind of the last few weeks leading up to it has been a really great experience. We got in on Saturday, me and Alix. If you have done a website with us, you know Alix. She is our account manager specializing in web design. And this is something I guess I didn't prepare for. So the vendors don't start really until Monday. However, the conference starts on Sunday. So that's something that is a little unique, and I didn't fully know as I was like putting everything together. Is that like the vendors set up on the day the conference starts, but we're in like a separate space where you can't see. It's not like we're building our setups like in front of attendees. But yeah, so that's kind of something kind of to know going in. And I scheduled my ticket to show up on Saturday. I wish I showed up a day or two early just to like explore the area, really settle in. I have not had a chance to like sit in my room and just like unpack. Really, and I've stayed up late a few nights later than I intended to, just to like feel like I can have my room more organized and like I can iron my pants that like got all wrinkled on the flight in. So tip going forward, if you are a sponsor attendee, or this is just to myself in the future, I would actually recommend showing up a day earlier than the festivities need to start, or a day early, but a day earlier than you need to start doing things. So that was the first thing. Show up a little bit early and also just like enjoy the pool. We are at the Marriott World Orlando Resort. I think it's like some combination of that name, and it is the largest Marriott in the world. There is a lazy river. There is there are a ton of water slides. There's a huge water area. I actually have a view of the pool from my room. So many rooms. So many restaurants, really great restaurants. There's like a little mini mart. There's a Starbucks. There's so much here, a lot to explore and kind of get used to. it's a lot to take in. And if you show up on the day where you have to like go set up your booth or like run to do a talk, it's going to be a lot. So, having said that, yes, show up a day early, fully take in the entire experience, fully get acquainted with the area. It's nice because our hotel is also really like right next to Disney Springs. And so I met with a client on Sunday, and we were meeting for breakfast, and we actually had just planned on meeting like a week or two prior. And I was trying to find dinner reservations. And of course, everyone else is planning on meeting during this time and having dinner and breakfast and reserving tables. And so I was worried. I was like, oh my gosh, where am I going to find a table? Disney Springs is so close by. And so we were able to get a dinner or a brunch reservation at Summer House on the Lake in Disney Springs. It was actually absolutely fantastic, such good food. But there are a ton of restaurants at Disney Springs. So really, I mean, like if you come with your family, I think a few people brought like their kids and their spouse, and they were, at Disney World. And if you need a dinner reservation and the hotel is booked, you also have Disney Springs. So it's a really awesome location for those purposes. When it comes to like the week of the event, kind of as things start to get up and running, um, it's a very organized and intentional schedule. So I've been to some conferences where the like vendor floor is sort of like either the main area where people hang out, or it's always open. That's not quite how it is here. They have essentially like a lot of big rooms and then some small like breakout conference rooms. And the vendor area is sort of set in one of those big rooms, but it's you can close and open the doors, obviously. And there are set hours that you can go look at these vendors. There are set hours that you obviously go do the sessions. And so, whenever you're at something, you never feel like you're missing out on something else, which I think is really unique. And there's aspects about it I like. I think there are also aspects that are kind of challenging, just because we had someone like running by at the very last second who was like, I wanted to talk to you, but I didn't have enough time, and da 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 da. And so we scanned their badge real quick to get their information. I don't know if there was anyone else like that. I don't know if people felt crunched for time because there's only specific hours on the floor. But I do think it was nice that I'm sure a lot of people never felt like they were missing out on a session or demos or something happening on the show floor, because it was very much like directions saying, concentrate your attention here. This is what is happening. This is where you should be. So that it was nice in that regard. And then a lot of great sessions, a lot of great speakers. I connected with a lot of speakers. I enjoy kind of checking out their different talks. There were a few that I was like, I want to have you on the podcast. And I, reached out to them, said, hey, I just wanted to say hi. I want to reach out and see if you'll be on my podcast. I'll reach out on LinkedIn. I know you got a lot going on. But that was really cool. Depending on whether you're watching this as an attendee or a sponsor, as a sponsor, I mean, something that I was obviously going because accountants are my niche, why I'm sure you're watching or listening to this. And so I obviously went with the attention of wanting to connect with accountants, but there's actually a lot of vendors that I was like, like, let's connect, let's talk. There's some vendors in the past where it's like, I really want to like figure out how I like what you do. I would love to partner with you or find a way, but over email you just don't get that same like what is it, like vibing connection. And so being able to just converse with them in person was really cool. And something else, if you attended the conference or if you're learning about the conference, a lot of the booths there, the person that you usually saw was like the owner of the business. Not all the time, especially for like Zero. The owner of Zero was not at Scaling New Heights. But a lot of big decision makers were at the booths. And I think if you are an accountant trying to build relationships and you have a specific niche, real estate owners, construction, dog walkers, and you go to a convention and you're looking to have partnerships with people, yes, the convention is a great opportunity to get new clients, but it's also a great opportunity to have partnerships. There was a lot of that networking going on. It wasn't just about, hey, where's my next lead coming from? We had a conversation with the people over at Keepful, and it was so like a weird happenstance that we met. Alix, our account manager, she was in the elevator and she was just like going up to her room and she ran into them and started a conversation. And then we saw them later on. And then I started talking to them. And then we've like kept coming across each other at the conference. And we realized there was an overlap between what they offer and what we offer. And we found we're talking about different ways we can partner together. So that's all just to say, like, don't go into the conference with like, oh, I only need to get leads. Be really open to like opportunities or new partnerships, learning what the other vendors do. I think it's a big takeaway is that, and I think it's really difficult with marketing. If you market on social media and you're like, oh, I never get leads from Instagram, it's hard to know whether that's true if you have a consultation with someone and they follow you on Instagram and maybe that's not how they found you, but that's how they got close to you. The conference is, kind of a similar way is maybe you didn't get a lead or leads from a conference, but maybe you connected with someone that's a partner and that partnership has created a bunch of new leads for you and a bunch of new connections. So the line to new clients is not always super linear. Sometimes it's great partnerships that result in new and greater opportunities. So originally, I wanted to do a podcast episode, kind of like going through day by day, like a review of the day and talking about it. Um, but as I was recording these episodes, I was recording them at the end of my day when I was so exhausted and so tired. And thinking back, I'm like, I did a lot of just like blubbering. Like I feel like I didn't say anything. So I scratched that idea and I'm now kind of trying to give you an overall take on the conference. And so I mean kind of day by day, you can pretty much like it's kind of a normal conference schedule. There was main stage speakers, there were session speakers, there was vendor time, there was great food. There is a hotel lobby bar, which is usually where people enjoy themselves at night. So, and I definitely partook in that a couple times. So, yeah, I mean, the schedule was pretty normal. The week went so fast. Like I said, I feel like I haven't had a second to sit since I signed up for the conference. But it's been like constantly go, 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 which has been great. I imagine if I were an accounting firm owner, I would find this all really inspiring and tons of great information. And so this is just kind of like my prelim experience retelling of what happened at the conference. I'm now wanting to kind of digest everything and then organize my thoughts and then give you some advice on if you are planning on going to a conference. What you should do, what you shouldn't do, tips, tricks, all those things. I will say if you're going to a conference and bringing swag, um, I don't know. I have a lot of leftover swag. I have way too much leftover gum specifically. So I think, yeah, I need to digest better on like what's a good way to calculate how much swag you should bring. Because the tips I got online definitely overestimated that. And let me tell you, we were handing out swag uh, like it was hot. It was hot, like hot potato, just swag, swag, swag. Um, so yeah, so overall, scaling new heights, I thought it was great. I think the audience, the group of people here, um, there seemed to be a really diverse group of accountants. There were some that were like franchise owners. There were some that did tax, CAS, bookkeeping. I think I met like a few auditors, but mostly, I mean, pretty much everyone was accounting from owners. A few people had like other members on their team with them, which is always cool. You get to check out even more stuff. And yeah, and so I think if you're looking for a conference to find community, I imagine Scaling New Heights is a really great opportunity. It seems like they really try to allow you to have a place to create connections with other people. Just and little things too, like you have your lanyard. There was like little badges that you can do that saying like let's connect, or it's my first time here. You can have like a pin for how many years you've been there. um, so lots of little opportunities and things like that to learn, do all of that. So if you are thinking about attending a conference, if you want more conference tips, please subscribe to the channel, follow me on all the social networks, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm going to be doing more content, especially over the summer, just talking about things that I learn after I've kind of had more time to digest and organize my thoughts. Like I said, I mean, we just packed up our booth. But if you have any questions about the conference, if you're debating on going to a conference, whether you're going as like an attendee to a conference like Scaling New Heights, or you are looking to sponsor a conference, send me a message. Let me know. This was our first experience, so I feel like I'm obviously not an expert on the subject, but I can give you kind of a fresh take as far as like, here's what I would do having attended my first conference. So I will see you next time. And yeah, it's been a long week. I'm pretty tired, so I'll see you next time.
When it comes to designing websites, the service page always takes much more time than anticipated. It can sometimes be hard to verbalize everything you do, so I always recommend simplifying, which is what I'm going to do right now with MediaBooks. Here at MediaBooks, we offer 3 services for every stage of your business. We offer web design for when you are just getting your marketing strategy up and running, or you need a website refresh. We offer website audit services for those DIYers, and we also have advisory services for those who love their website and are ready to advance their marketing skills. Get started with MediaBooks by visiting MediaBooksAgency.com. MediaBooks, the only place on the internet where creative accounting isn't a bad thing.